Elving, go yourself down the hall there and collect a friend.
Hello, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Morning, fellas. Angeline, quickly, please.
What are you doing?
We'll be just a second here, please, sir. Have a seat, folks. Well, now, let the record show that I'm James J. Wells, Assistant Attorney General for the Organized Crime Division of the United States Department of Justice. With me here are... Oh, hell, Angie, you know who these folks are. Just write them in. I've had no conversation with anyone here prior to the beginning of this record. At this time, I'd like to inform all present they have the right to remain silent and the right to retain counsel. I inform them further that anything they say during the course of this what the hell is this? This inquiry may be taken down and used against them. Anybody here want a lawyer?
No.
No.
Miss Carter, you brought your own. Mr. Gallagher, do you want a lawyer, sir?
No.
Good. Ain't no more room in here anyway. Anybody want to read the paper? You got a story in here. Says strike force investigating a DA suspecting bribes. It's the damnedest story you ever read. Nobody in this department ever read a story quite like that. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to sit right here and talk about it. Now, if you get tired of talking here, Mr. Marshal Elving Patrick there will hand you one of them subpoenas he's got stuck down in his pocket, and we'll go downstairs and talk in front of the grand jury. Now, we'll talk all day if you want to. But come sundown, there's going to be two things true that ain't true now. One is that the United States Department of Justice is going to know what in the good Christ, excuse me, Angie, is going on around here. And the other is I'm going to have somebody's ass in my briefcase. Elliot? Jim? Fine. All right, Elving, hand whichever one of these fellows you like a subpoena. We'll go on downstairs and talk in front of the grand jury.
Gallagher's a government witness.
A wonderful thing, subpoena.
He's working on Diaz, reporting to me.
Your arrangements include campaign contributions?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about $9,000. Cashier's checks. That's all in the file, Jim.
What file?
This file, Rosen's investigation file. You can't have an investigation without a file, Jim.
Let me see that.
Oh, I'll save you looking. Says you met with Gallagher, didn't report it. Says Gallagher give money to some committee thinks you're pretty. Got phone taps, not legal, mind you, but I got phone taps of you talking on Gallagher's answer machine.
You son of a bitch.
You don't think much of your investigation, Elliot. Jim, why didn't you report that meeting?
That was Gallagher. Those were his rules. He said he wanted to deal only with me. We had a leak.
You had a leak? You call what's going on around here a leak? Boy, the last time there was a leak like this, Noah built himself a boat.
Now, look, I don't know anything about any cashier's checks. Now, Gallagher said that he would listen for us if we'd quit hassling him. He wanted a public statement.
And he got it.
Robert, where'd you get the authority to run those taps?
No place. I just did it.
You want to tell me why you'd go and do a damn fool thing like that?
You see, we had a reason to believe that...
He was acting on my instructions.
You don't get paid to act on your instructions. He gets paid to abide by and to enforce the law. Elliot, how's come you're investigating the DA without telling the department?
What was preliminary? We had cause, but no case.
Do you think you have a case now?
I think so.
Make it.
Here? In front of them?
Do you know something that ain't already all over the newspapers? Go ahead and make your case. It'll be good practice for you.
Mr. Gallagher? You know Mr. Quinn?
Yeah.
How do you know him?
He asked me if I would help him find out what happened to Joey Diaz.
I'll show you photostats of 2 cashier's checks drawn on the flagship National Bank, made payable to the Committee for a Better Miami. You've seen them before.
Yeah, they're mine.
For what purpose did you make these checks?
To contribute to the committee.
Well, why was that?
Because they do good work.
You aware that the committee is interested in the political career of Mr. Quinn?
So? That's okay with me.
All right, let me point out that these checks were drawn immediately before and immediately after your meeting with Mr. Quinn. What do you make of that?
I don't know. What do you make of it?
Now, come on now, Mr. Gallagher. You trying to say that you just got an urge to contribute to his committee before you met with him, and then you just got another urge right after?
Yeah, I came into some extra money a couple days later.
All right. You made these contributions anonymously. Why?
I wanted them to be anonymous.
I'll bet. Tell us why.
Because I didn't want a lot of other people coming around asking for
The
contributions.
reason you made these contributions anonymously is that you were paying off.
Prove it.
Mr. Gallagher, if you, in fact, told Mr. Quinn that you would act as a government informant, then why are...
Oh, wait a minute. I said that I'd see what I could find out.
What are you finding out?
Nothing. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Son of a bitch, you're trying to frame me. Now, he set me up. He arranged the meetings. He is the one who got me on his answering machine. He's got the canceled checks. He is trying to frame me.
What's his motive?
To get even, you dummy.
2 guys ought to get married. Mr. Gallagher, are you that smart?
You're damn right he is.
Miss Carter, you seem to know a lot about what's going on around here. I'd like to ask you where these stories came from.
Objection. My client is
You
not...
save your objections, counselor. This ain't a courtroom. Now, Miss Carter, this story about Mr. Gallagher, the first one.
I had reason to believe the strike force was investigating Mr. Gallagher. I confirmed it. I wrote the story.
How did you confirm it?
Objection. You were asking
Wait
her...
a minute. Wait a minute. I want to answer this. I read the file.
Did you now? How did you come to read the file?
I was talking with Mr. Rosen. It was lying on his desk. And when he left his office, I read it.
Did you ask Mr. Rosen what in the name of Christ he was doing leaving the file around on his desk for you to read it?
He intended me to read it
Why would that be, Miss Carter?
so that I would write a story that made Mr. Gallagher look bad.
This story. Mr. Rosen give you that one, too?
No.
Go ahead, Miss Carter.
I'm sorry. I can't tell you.
I think I know where we're headed here. Before we get there, I want to say something to you. Now, you know and I know that we can't tell you what to print or what not to. We hope you people in the press will act responsibly, but when you don't, there ain't a hell of a lot anybody can do about it. But we can't have people go around leaking stuff for their own reasons. It ain't legal. And worse than that, by God, it ain't right. I can't stop you, but I can damn well stop them. Now, I want to know where them stories come from.
Under the First Amendment, my client is not required to reveal her sources
You know,
of
that's all
information.
horse-pucky, Counselor. The First Amendment don't say that, and the privilege don't exist. Now, Miss Carter, do you understand I can ask you these questions in front of a grand jury?
Yes.
And if you don't answer, you can go to jail?
I know it's possible, yes.
Oh, it's more than possible, Miss Carter. It's damned likely. Now, I ain't anxious to be locking up reporters, but I'm going to tell you something, young lady. I don't like what's going on around here.
May I say something, please?
Yes.
I don't want to go to jail, but this has got to stop someplace. A lot of damage has been done. I'm responsible for a lot of it. I know that. I don't know. I keep thinking there must be some rules to tell me what I'm supposed to do now. But maybe not. The person who told me about the investigation of Mr. Quinn, they were not leaking it. They did not intend for it to be printed. I did that on my own. I'm scared to death of going to jail. But if I tell you who it was, then you'll have to do something about it, and then someone else will be hurt. So it's really very simple. I can hurt someone or not hurt someone. No rules. Just me. I can't tell you.
Mr. Gallagher. I seem to want to ask if you set all this up. If I do, you ain't gonna tell me, are you? No. I'll tell you something, you're a smart fellow. Don't get too smart. Pretty smart myself.
Everybody in the room is smart. Everybody's just doing their job. And Teresa Peron's dead. Who do I see about that?
Ain't nobody to see. I wish there was. You're excused now, sir. Miss Carter, you can go too. Later today, I'll have a statement for the media. You ain't gonna like it. It's gonna say Mr. Quinn here may not be the smartest DA we've ever had around, but there's no evidence suspecting him of anything. And it's gonna say you were suckered by Mr. Rosen here, who has some peculiar ideas on how to do his job. It's gonna say it was premature and real wrong that these investigations ever got reported in the first place. Now, you don't have to print it, of course, but it's going to wind up in the paper. Angeline, you and Elvie can go on ahead. Robert, you can go too. I'll be along in a minute. Jim, you're in a bad place, boy. I could talk myself blue clearing you, but wouldn't nobody believe me. You got a hell of a publicity problem.
I could sue.
Who? You can't win. Absent malice, what can you prove?
Saying I should resign.
President appointed you. I ain't the one to be kicking you out. But I'm suggesting.
I'll talk to you later.
It's really too bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He's a nice guy. He just forgot about the rules. Elliot, what'd you figure you'd do after government service?
I'm not quitting.
You ain't no presidential appointee, Elliot. One that hired you was me. You got 30 days.